There's a specific kind of man who never runs after anyone. He doesn't double text. He doesn't rearrange his week around someone who hasn't confirmed. He doesn't turn silence into a puzzle he has to solve. And most people read that completely wrong. They assume he's cold, emotionally unavailable, not that interested. But psychologically, something very different is usually going on, and it has almost nothing to do with how much he cares. Chasing isn't really about pursuing a person. It's about trying to resolve uncertainty as fast as possible because uncertainty feels unbearable. Every text sent twice, every plan rearranged, is your nervous system trying to force a maybe into a yes. A man who doesn't chase isn't lower interest. He's just built a different relationship with uncertainty. He can sit in "I don't know yet" without needing to fix it immediately. Here's what's actually running underneath that. 1. His self-worth was never on loan from her response. For most people, an unanswered text quietly asks a second question. Does this mean something about me? He's already separated those two things. Her slow reply is information about her day, not a referendum on his value. 2. He's learned that pursuit and self-respect don't always fit in the same room. He's noticed that chasing someone who's pulling away teaches them he'll be there regardless. So he's not withholding effort to play a game. He's protecting the version of himself that doesn't beg to be prioritized. 3. He'd rather know the truth than manufacture hope. Chasing often isn't about the person. It's about avoiding a harder truth that someone might just not be that interested. He'd rather find that out clearly than stretch ambiguous signals into hope for 3 more weeks. 4. He's already watched what overinvestment does to attraction. Not from a book, from experience. He's been the guy who showed up too early, too eager, and watched interest cool the moment there was nothing left to wonder about him. This isn't detachment, it's recalibration. Here's the part that gets misread from the outside. All 4 of those are about his relationship with himself, not with her, which is exactly why it reads as confidence, even though confidence was never the actual goal. It's a side effect. That's also why it's so hard to fake. You can copy the behavior without doing the internal work underneath it, and it usually shows. The version of not chasing that comes from real self-worth feels calm. The version that's just performed detachment feels like withholding, and most people can sense the difference. Some men try to flip this into a strategy. Act like you don't care, and she'll chase you. That completely misses the mechanism. It's not the not chasing that's attractive. It's the not needing that's attractive. If you're performing indifference while quietly checking her last seen every 10 minutes, you haven't built the thing that made this work in the first place. So if you've ever wondered why some men seem completely unbothered by uncertainty in dating, it's rarely because they don't care. It's because somewhere along the way, they stopped needing the uncertainty resolved in order to feel like they were still worth choosing. That's not a trick. That's just what it looks like when your sense of self isn't sitting in someone else's inbox, waiting on a reply.